right, welcome back to my YouTube channel, the Zach Horgis Likes to Yap a Lot session. Thank you all for coming back, or if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Zach Horgis. I am a 25-year-old kid living in Illinois, and this is just a documentary about bettering myself and bettering my life. I like to start off every video by going over where I'm at currently, YouTube-wise. I am currently, so I was at like 5 views all the way up until today on my last video, and we've jumped up to 16. So something happened a little bit. I got a little more views. People decided to watch, and I got one more subscriber. So we're at 41 subscribers, and this is gonna be my 35th video on the channel. This also is going to be, this is a little bit impromptu. I usually try and film my videos on Tuesday, right after I upload on Mondays. And this week got away from me. I was busy at work, and I didn't. And I was going to completely skip this week. But then literally just seeing those views go from 5 views to 16 overnight. I know it's 11 views, very minuscule, and got one extra subscriber, very minuscule. But when you have so little amount of views and subscribers, those little jumps really encourage me. And I'm thinking in my head, I can't fall off the routine again, and I have to get another upload together. Luckily, I have a whole laundry list of things I've been wanting to talk about, so we're going to talk about one of them today, and that is the buy or rent dilemma. This is specifically targeting the millennial and then Gen Z, which I'm Gen Z, age group. And this is not like I think one is better than the other. I actually don't know. And the reason why I'm making this video, I kind of want to make it informal and have it be more of a discussion. Like, I want to go through, if you're new to this topic of buying or renting, this video may help you, because what I'm going to do is go through exactly what I'm thinking. I might move this up just a little bit. Exactly what I am thinking. I currently live at home. I'm 25 years old. I'm trying to save as much money as I can to be able to put money down on a house or a condo. And well, while that was my original thought process, I've been seeing a lot of things about the benefits of renting a apartment or house over buying it. So I'm going to break down what I have learned, and if I'm wrong on anything, I would love for someone to tell me in the comments, because that's why I make these videos. I make these videos to possibly help someone who's just a little bit behind where my thought process is, and for someone who's in front of me to then come back and correct me if I am wrong or if I'm missing any details or etc. Now, ever since I've been younger, ever since I was younger, I've always had the, not even like want to, but I've been just told all of my life, buy a house and then you buy more rental properties, buy other houses to then make them rental properties, and then you have other people pay your mortgage, and then you're going to make money in the long run by, you know, either very minimal cash flow with where interest rates are right now, or by them just paying it off, and then you can sell it for like 100,000-200,000 of whatever they paid off their mortgage. Okay, that's what I've always been told, and that's what I was originally going after. But it really depends on what you want your life to look like, and let me paint a picture. So that's originally what I thought I wanted, but then you have to take into account, let's say $4,000 in rent versus $4,000 in mortgage. Okay, people will automatically look at that and be like, okay, well, that $4,000 is going to equity, and that $4,000 is just paying someone else's lease or paying someone else's mortgage, which is correct in a sense. But what you don't see, and what I've been figuring out and I've been learning through either various videos or digging into some of this stuff on my own, is when you are renting something, everything is covered besides electricity most of the time. That means the appliances are there are already there for you to use. You don't have to invest any money into those. And if any of those break, you have a landlord that will come and fix it. Same with like plumbing and the toilet and shower pipes, anything of that nature. You have someone that will automatically fork up that expense, and you will not be liable for it. And it's very easy, quick fixes most of the time if you live in like a nice like apartment building or of some sorts that's properly managed. Now you look at, that's $4,000 a month, right? Which is kind of high, but that's where we're getting at. I live in Chicago, so rents are getting up there. Anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 is usually where you're going to be at. Versus you buy a property and your mortgage comes out to $4,000 a month. Now, $4,000 a month renting, you're looking at $48,000 a year going poof to just living expenses. Boom, it's gone. It's going to living expenses. Versus $4,000 a year, a month going to mortgage. That's $48,000. But you have to take into account, you have to furnish the entire place, all the appliances, plumbing, electrical work, anything that goes wrong, that is on you. So when you're thinking you're going to get this picture perfect home, unless even new builds, I watch this guy on Instagram Reels sometimes where he'll be going through like an $800,000 new build, and there's so many things wrong with it. It's ridiculous. So anything that goes wrong, that's automatically going to skyrocket your cost for that year, going from that $48,000 is your cap to, let's say your fridge goes out, you have a leak in your plumbing leak, and you have to redo everything. Again, there's insurances for this type of stuff, but there's a lot more headache that would go into that. Okay, you have to take that into account. Two, most of the time, right now we're sitting at like 5-6% interest rates for mortgages. Most of the time, that's front loaded in a 30-year mortgage. So when you're paying off that house, and if you're gonna stay there for, let's say, 5 years, 5 to 10 years, most of that money you're paying is going to interest first. Okay, so let's just say 700-ish of that 4,000 is going to interest. Okay, and then you have mortgage insurance, and then if you get a condo in the city, or if you live in a nicer neighborhood, you have HOA fees, which where I live in Chicago, HOA fees will eat up $800 to $1,000 a month sometimes for these like $300,000, $400,000 condos. When you're taking into account all of those things, right? The interest, the PMI if you don't put down, 20%, the homeowner's insurance, the HOAs, this stuff really starts adding up. And it's not really a $4,000 out the window versus $4,000 to equity scheme that everyone's making it out to be, right? It's more like $4,000 out the window, or $2,500 out the window, and $1,500 going to your principal, right? Your equity. Let alone closing costs on the front end that make it impossible to get it in and out of a property within 1 to 2 years. And then on the back end is, back end as well, you got commissions when you sell. There's a lot of these things that go with it. Plus the fact, if you're buying a $400,000 home, you're putting down like $80,000 to $100,000 to hit that 20% to avoid that PMI. You just have to, you think about it in a reasonable way. It's really hard to even articulate, because I'm obviously, if you can tell by my stance of where I've been leaning, I was leaning towards home ownership. And I've honestly, the pendulum has swung for me to be more of in the renting category. Now, that's not to say I've made a decision on either or. I'm just really starting to get turned off from this homeowner experience and this being the American dream that everyone's made it out to be. When really, on the other side, renting, you can get a really nice apartment with a really nice gym sometimes, and the high-end appliances in a apartment complex in the city for like $3,000, versus trying to find a fixer-upper type of condo to get that $3,000 to $4,000. You pay maybe a little more because you think you're getting the equity in it, but really a lot of that money is going to other miscellaneous expenses like taxes and interest, like property taxes. I didn't even think about that. I live in Illinois. We're not good on property taxes here. So there's a lot of things you have to take into account, but one of the other things too is the freedom that an apartment gives you. You buy a condo in a bad apartment complex without you knowing, or a bad condominium type building, and you don't know, or it's in a bad neighborhood, or something happens with zoning. You're stuck in there. You're gonna take a loss if you're trying to get out sub 5 years on a mortgage of anything, okay? With the closing costs and all the different stuff that you have to go into it. With an apartment, you break that lease 10 months in, you're gone. You can go somewhere else. You're only liable, again, for $4,000 a month or $3,000. Let's do $3,000 a month. That's $36,000 you're liable for that year, and then you're gone. You're done. You wipe your hands of all that mess. Sorry, I keep hitting that. If you hear some things, I might move this back just a tad to make sure I'm still in frame. So you're wiping your hands with all of that mess that you were just involved with, and you can go to you can figure out what you liked about that and go find something that fixes those dislikes that you had with it and gets you the happy medium. And you can move cities, you can do all of it. You're so free with that. Versus most of the time, if you can scrape together $100,000 coming out of college, and when you're supposed to be buying a home from 22 to 26, when you're trying to get that money together to buy that home in your late 20s, early 30s, the amount of stress that's going to induce on you, where you're like, okay, I just got to this point in money, right, in my savings, and now I'm going to spend all of it and put it into an asset that it does appreciate over time, but it's like it's stuck in there. It's very immobile. So then let's say you lose your job and you have a $4,000 a month mortgage payment, and you now your emergency fund is like what, 2-3 months, because you just had to spend all of that money on a down payment, and now it's stuck in there. So now you're like scrambling from a job. Versus if you have an apartment and you have that $36,000 put away, because in this example, you're going for a house that you're gonna put down the $80,000 for a $4,000 mortgage versus $4K a month. You're having that down payment, and you're just having it, pocketing it over here, and then stifling it out for that $3K a month in rent. You have a cushion there because you didn't decide to front load all that money into a down payment. Now, please, this is where I'm at right now in my thought process. I'm not saying I think homeownership is a beautiful thing. I honestly, I can really see, when I'm starting a family and when I'm turning 30, and I'm trying to settle down, that would be ideal, because then I could really build a place for my family to grow up in. I can, put the home gym in there. I pick it out based on school districts and neighborhoods and stuff like that. I can really see curating a life around a home, and I think that's very important. I'm more speaking to the Gen Z and millennial people who are stuck in this, do I buy or rent, when they don't have these obligations of a family. If you have a family, this becomes a very difficult topic of conversation, which I'm not even really experienced enough to even talk on, because I don't have, that's not where I'm at in life right now, right? But for those people who are Gen Z-ish, looking to buy or rent, or if they're renting and they want to buy, or if you've completely crossed the like, what am I missing? Is my give and takes on either side fair to say for either one? Am I missing something more on the buy side that's more beneficial? Like, you get the appreciation, but I mean, the real estate market's been kind of stagnant for the past 2 or 3 years. So it's like, it really depends on your time horizon and where you're going to be. And again, one thing I take into consideration is my job. Right now, my job is based in Chicagoland area. But if I lose my job and I'm tied to a mortgage, I have to only look for new jobs in Chicago. Otherwise, I'm going to have to take this loss on this mortgage I just took out on this house. Or I have someone rent it out. I mean, that's always an option. Or if I lose my job and I can't find anything in Chicago because I want to stay there first because my friends and family are, I then have the power to look for jobs in Tampa or Seattle or Boston or Tennessee. Like, I have the flexibility to do that because I'm not tied to a 30-year mortgage. I just feel like when you're in your young 20s, that's going to be a ball and chain to your ankle versus being that beneficial, I'm going to be putting all this money into an asset and it's going to appreciate and it's going to really set me up in my 40s and 50s. No, what's going to really set you up in your 40s and 50s is saving as much money as you can and investing that money into stocks, a business, into yourself. Like, that's what's going to really save you in your 40s and 50s. And you don't want to rely on that saving like how most of our parents are getting saved, through a house. And I'm not trying to preach. And I'm going to give you my opinion on this, right? I need some water real quick. Sorry. I used to be in the mortgage and house camp. Right now, I'm leaning more to I'm leaning towards the stay at my parents' house for as long as they welcome me here to save as much money as I can camp. But I'm starting to lean, when I do make that move, I'm starting to lean more of a rent and have freedom and flexibility. And again, you can tie this buy versus rent model to a lot of different areas of your life. I'm even thinking right now, my car just got a $5,000 bill worth of expenses. What I did, I traded it in, I sold it, and I took out a lease. Now, why did I do that? I don't want to be tied to a depreciating asset. Now, I don't have a business to write it off, and I mean, that would be the best way to go, right? And hopefully one day I will with this, YouTube channel. Who knows? Well, you have to not manifest. You have to speak that into existence, pray about it, and then God will provide, right? So this will be one day, and I'll be able to write off the lease. That's a whole different story, right? But I'm going. You can even see it with the purchases of cars going more towards leases. You don't take on any of that $5,000 worth of damage that I was about to incur on a car that was worth $4,000. Like, my car was, I got like $3,000, $4,000 for my car when I sold it, but I would have to put $5,000 more dollars into it for like engine things and oil things that were going wrong with it and brakes and stuff, versus taking on a brand new car and having no liability after 3 years on it, and you can switch it out for a new one, or you have the option to buy it out and some of that payment goes into it. I hate to say it, but we're really moving into a rental based economy, and you can see this in subscription service models and all of this. And while I do see this becoming an issue for most, I don't even want to talk like most, because if you're watching these type of videos, I assume you're trying to better your life in some way so you don't fall into this bucket. But for most Americans, it's becoming a very big, what is my monthly payment on this to rent this out? And in a way, if you can still live below your means and outsource liability to other companies and pay monthly prices, I'm definitely not for like purchasing stuff and going on a payment plan or credit cards or any of those things. I'm not advocating for that at all. But I'm talking about specifically renting versus buying a house, leasing versus buying a car, getting Netflix and YouTube Red versus getting cable for $200. Like, it's all a form of renting in a way. But with you not having any major it's like buying a home gym for $30,000 to make it really nice, or outsourcing that cost to a gym for $100 a month where they cover all the maintenance. Like, you have to be careful with this mindset and not let it consume you to a point where your monthly payments now are going out of control and your lifestyle inflating yourself. But I'm talking from a freedom aspect, from a liability aspect. Now, if you really want to go real freedom aspect, you would own a home off grid with solar panels, a water well, and grow your own food, which sounds very cool to me as well. Like a buy a ranch that you can do all that stuff and build on. Until that type of freedom, mobility freedom in your early 20s and late 20s, I feel like should be on a priority docket. And I feel as if, again, not speaking for families and not speaking for true freedom, right? But it's like you buy a house. It's not even your asset. I have to even wrap this up into another video because I think this is going for like 20 minutes now. And I have so much more to say, but last thing I want to put, I also forgot about, like, you're buying an asset, you think it's yours, you don't even really own it. Because if you don't pay your property taxes, it doesn't matter if you have $500,000 in equity in that house. If you don't pay your, 1% or whatever it is, 2% property. So it's like, if you don't pay that 10 grand a year to own that land still, they will take that $500,000 house from you, no questions asked, over 10 grand. And it's not even yours. Like, they will literally take it from you. So yeah, you're building equity and legally you still have control over it, but it's not really yours. Like, you drive a car and yeah, you have the title, but if you don't have registration or car insurance on it, they'll take it from you. Like, you'll get caught with that. Your license will be suspended. You can't drive it anymore, and they will literally take it from you. So it's not even really yours. So, like, why would I want the higher monthly cost and the higher liability cost for something that I don't even own anyways? I don't know. That's where I'm going to leave it. Please comment down below where you're at in life, what you're thinking. If you're on the same thought process as me, if you're like, you're way missing the mark and this is the benefits on buying versus renting, or if you're like, you're on the mark, but I think even renting's better because of this or this. Please let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for anyone who even interacts with the video, like likes it or comments it or talks or subscribes or anything, because that is why you're seeing this video right now. Like, little things like that do motivate me, and I'm very self-motivated in this, but I can get caught up. I'm human. I can get caught up in my laziness and not want to do it. So yeah, so thank you to anyone who does. I will catch you guys in the next video, Mondays, 11 a.m. Central Time, every single week. We are committing to it. If I miss a week here or there, may happen, but I'm going to try my best, and I'm even going to try and, eventually get to Monday, Wednesday, or Monday, Friday, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday eventually. But right now we're rocking with Mondays, 11 a.m. Central. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And I gotta lose some weight too. I'm starting to develop a little double chin here. That's another thing I have to do, is get back in the gym, get back into the YouTube grind, get back into the gym grind, make it happen. You have to make it happen for yourself. No one's gonna do it for you. You have to be your own advocate in life and your own best friend to your future self, right? That's all I got for you today. Have a good one. Peace.